video I did about what happened to Charlie Kirk and the fact that I liked people's comments, but didn't say anything outright about how I felt. I received so many death threats in my DMs. I'm self-employed. For like my mailing address is not where I live. I knew at some point this would happen, that you wouldn't be able to have free speech. You can have free speech if you're white, if you're a Republican. You can say as much violence and hate towards anyone else in this country. I don't condone what happened, but he was okay with what happened to him. People are being doxxed, people are being fired, people are being harassed, people are being threatened for their freedom of speech. One can say verbatim what Charlie Kirk said himself, because that's just so hateful. So the fact of how many death threats I received in my DMs shows me just how violent the right is. When it was a Republican, MAGA, conservative, white man who unalived him. I can only imagine people who did speak out what their DMs look like. I can only imagine what it looks like for them. And that's fucking horrific. There's a lot of blame to the left, but no accountability for the right. You know, when it first happened, they all blamed the left, saying that it was someone who was trans, someone who maybe minority. And when it came out the fact that it was a white, religious Republican, they doubled down. They decided to still spew hatred and anger, violence. The people in our government, everyone in the White House, all the MAGA supporters, all the Christian conservative supporters, Charlie Kirk's blood is on your hands. All of y'all gave him the ammunition for what happened to him. You literally allowed him to talk about pretty much whatever he wanted to talk about. You even encouraged him to do it. You gave him a blueprint on how to spew as much hate and rhetoric and violence that he possibly could while still talking about God. So the fact that his blood is on your hands and no one is willing to take accountability over that, it's ironic. Because you'll still spew hate and violence towards the left, even though it was the right who unalived him. But you don't want to talk about that. You don't want to talk about how it was white on white crime, that it was a Republican on Republican crime, that it was a MAGA supporter on MAGA supporter. Nobody wants to talk about that. Nobody wants to take accountability. But that's the thing. His blood is on each of your hands. And you act all high and mighty, even though if it wasn't for each and every single one of you, most likely he would still be alive. But you don't think that. You don't think that your own words and your own actions unalived a man because you allowed him to say whatever he wanted to say to the whole country for years and years. I think in this time, we need to remember why people go to church every Sunday, why people hold that Bible in their hands every time they walk into a church, every time before they go to bed and they pray. Why do you hold that Bible? And I think that you need to keep it really close to you.